Hey everybody, welcome back. This is some absolutely scrumptious, petty revenge that people got on their bullies. Bullied me in the 6th grade.
I got my revenge 15 years later.
Lol. I had a bully in middle school who used to torment the life out of me by beating me up, pouring water on me, locking me in bathrooms, making fun of my weight, etc. I recently saw on Facebook that he's engaged, so I stupidly thought of a petty revenge plan. I used an old Instagram account and posed as a pretty woman and DM'd him. Is this going where I think it's going? I think it is. 20 minutes later, he messaged me back. 20 minutes, eh? That's all it took? 20 minutes. We chatted where I pretended to be a woman and he began to flirt. Wow. All it took was 20 minutes, eh? 20 minutes and a couple messages. I screenshotted all his spicy messages in case he might unsend them, including the pics that he sent. I forwarded those screenshots to his fiance and bada boom, the engagement photos from their Facebook were deleted the next day. Was this too much? I mean, listen, I think that he messed up on his own. You just helped him along. You assisted. They say that bullies can change, right? Like kids are kids and whatever, and like they were immature and stuff like that. But like I honestly strongly believe that if you're like that as a kid, you're probably gonna be a crappy adult. That's why it's so important to teach our kids that it isn't okay to bully. Like I know that like bullying and cheating doesn't like, it's not synonymous, but at the same time, it doesn't exactly surprise me. You saved her from a horrible marriage. Good work. I don't know, maybe she would have ended up getting bullied. Yeah, I don't believe in testing your partner, but I can't argue with the results here. It's pretty comical from the bully's point of view that this could have been avoided at multiple stages of his life. All we had to do was not be an asshole. This is what I'm saying. All of this happened because of how you treated someone. Your decisions led to this point. You basically just did a loyalty test and he failed. He did this to himself. That's what I'm saying, like. His fault. I gave my ex's newly published book a bad online review. I've never even read it. Go on. He lied. He cheated and abandoned me with his baby over 16 years ago. Today I found his book being sold online. Well, in that case, I wouldn't read it either, babe. There was something about seeing his name again that struck terrible, painful memories and a desperate need for revenge. In my rage, I reviewed his book with the comment, paraphrased, Stephen King ripoff. Skip this one if you value your free time. A complete waste of money, energy, and time. No good characters, contrived plot, terrible dialogue. I'm pretty sure an edgy, semi-illiterate teen wrote this. Oh, God. Oh. Did you have your name attached to it? I'm just like worried about that a little bit. Childish, I know, but I feel a little better, honestly. I hope it stings him like hell. All right, we all know I'm petty. We all know I'm petty. I've never done anything like this because I truly believe that sometimes it's better to move on, to forgive but not forget. But I've never been in a position like this. So like I've never been treated this badly. And maybe if I was, who knows? I'm always of the opinion that we should read things before we review them. Like we shouldn't just like review things that we haven't read or seen. Like, would you want to read an entire book that your cheating ex wrote? Probably not. Could be worth more child support now though. Oh, doubtful. It's very hard to get a book off the ground. How successful is he? If I had to choose between child support and his ego getting punched, I'd take the ego punch. Satisfaction is worth more than money to me. Priceless. Absolutely priceless. You also have to like go to court and stuff, and like that is painful, okay? I've never been to court. I know people who've been to court over things like petty revenge court. It's a long process, and you end up paying a lot of money like initially because you have to get a lawyer, and like if you lose, then you have to pay money, and you know, it's like, it's a lot of work. This is just subtle, you know, like a subtle... It might not even affect him, you know? People write negative things on the internet all the time without ever having actually seen or read something. Why is it any different if you do it to someone who hurt you. Then I feel like you actually have a reason to do it. You know, like sometimes I read like negative stuff and I'm like, I don't know you. Like, I don't know why you hate me so much. But this makes sense. I made it so they wouldn't ever get a job in their chosen degree. So I was bullied mercilessly in high school by a group of 3 girls. This lasted for over a decade. They went out of their way to make my life miserable, and I even skipped days of school on a weekly basis because I was so afraid of them. Can relate. Can relate. It's been 3 years since then, and I recently saw that 2 of them got degrees. The other isn't important. We'll call the 2 Katie and Becky. Why is it always Becky? I am trying to get over what they did, and I'm in therapy and on a few different anxiety and depression medications. So when I saw that they got their degrees, I tried to look past it, but the degrees they got both angered me and worried me. Katie got an animal care degree, and Becky got a degree to be a mental health nurse. Stop. Stop! The irony! Oh, I love dramatic irony. Ooh, delicious. I thought it was a joke, but I was wrong. I didn't know what I was doing at first, but once I started, I couldn't stop. I wrote a long status on Facebook about what I'd endured at their hands. Cliff notes. 1, my phone was thrown in the sink at school. 2, they'd kick at my ankles in sports classes. 3, they'd comment on my weight, glasses, crooked teeth, and home life. 4, they made a category at prom for most likely to end themselves, and I was the only candidate. It was coincidentally taken out before the tutors could see. 5, they would hide my sports clothes and replace them with some that were too small. 6, they locked me in the gym cupboard until after lunch when another class came to use it. No proof, but I knew it was them. 7, they'd follow me home and try to barge me into the roads. 8, they'd stab my arms with pens and pencils in class. These are just a few I mentioned in my posts. There are a lot more and some a lot worse. I tagged them in the post and mentioned their names. Oh, you added them many times and pinned it to the top of my page. A lot of people are telling me I'm being petty, and I know I am, but I don't care. When someone tells you you're being petty, just say, thank you. I know.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
There was an argument in the comments between us and so many other people on all sides, but it soon stopped. I didn't take the post down. Out of nowhere, Becky messaged me privately apologizing for what she put me through and the time blaming it on youth and immaturity. Okay. Why was the apology not given before there was a post? She asked if I could take the post down and that she'd grown as a person since then. Only 3 years after the prom category thing. Oh, I've grown so much in 3 years. So much. I'm a different person. Completely different person. I have been through a lot in 3 years. You can be, but like 3 years, you wouldn't change that much. I was contemplating taking the post down, but not even a day later, I found out her true intentions. In my country, a potential employer will look at someone's social media as a character reference, and an unknown person sent me an email asking if they could keep screenshots of my posts and the comments on file. I agreed. Oh, that's the ticket. That was a boss. That was a potential employer. As long as my post is up, neither of them are likely going to get a job in their field, and I'm glad about it. The irony of a bully getting a degree in mental health. You're an expert on that, eh? You kind of the reverse psychology thing. Let's inflict trauma on people, and then they will come to us to fix their trauma. I got a DM from someone who wasn't exactly kind to me, not the actual bully, but they associated with them, apologizing for her behavior because now her kid was getting teased at school and is miserable. I forgave her for my well-being, not theirs, but it stings how they only change their tune when one of theirs gets hurt that way. You know, come to think of it, I've only ever gotten an apology from someone who was friends with the bullies too. You know, like didn't actively participate, but still like giggled and laughed. Never from an actual bully themselves. Interesting. Oh, and come to think of it, I also was apologized to by someone I used to live with who was horrible to me to the point where I had to move out. And she apologized for treating me terribly. I accepted the apology. And then like slowly after that, she essentially slid into the DMs after she apologized because she wanted something. And then said, hey, like, could you take down this like incriminating picture of me? I did take it down, but it's like ironic that you only apologize when you want something. Should have left it up. All right, we got one more, and this one's a good one. My son's name helped me get a small dose of petty revenge against a girl who constantly tried to compete with me in high school. So when I was in high school, I was on the speech and debate team. If you're unfamiliar, think drama club meets young Democrats / young Republicans. I mostly did the public speaking events that focused on real world political topics, and I loved it. I usually made it to finals in my events, but I had fun even when I didn't, and made some really great friends from other schools. If I wasn't in finals, I would go to watch others who were competing to support my teammates. There was a girl. There was a girl I saw at almost every tournament. There was a girl that I saw at almost every tournament. Let's call her M. M and I didn't do any of the same events because she focused more on the drama side of speech and debate. But M was constantly comparing herself to other people and would get really arrogant if she made it to finals in her events and I didn't make it to finals in mine. Anytime she didn't make it to finals in her events, she would cry and accuse the judges of not being fair and would then pout in the cafeteria all throughout finals and sometimes wouldn't even go to the awards to support her teammates who did win something. In conversation, she was also a big one-upper. Oh God, I hate one-uppers. Like, you have to be so unbelievably insecure to one-up in a conversation constantly. For those of you who don't know what a one-upper is, it's when you say something that you're really, really proud of in a conversation, like, oh, like me and my boyfriend went to New York for our anniversary. And then they say,
oh, 5 years ago, my boyfriend took me on an all expenses paid trip to Italy, and we had, first class flights, and oh my God, it was just so amazing. But New York is fun.
Like they just like use that as an opportunity to sort of like neg you. You could never talk about anything fun or cool you did because she'd always done something cooler or more fun. If you've ever seen Glee, she was a real life Rachel Berry. She and I are still friends on social media, although we haven't personally spoken much since high school. I've watched her flaunt now 2 different failed engagements. No, sorry. That's petty. That's mean. I need to catch myself. Bad Charlotte. Bad Charlotte. Along with a slew of random jobs I've never seen work out for very long. I don't post as much on social media, so she didn't really know what was going on in my life. My long-term partner and I found out in early March that we were pregnant. We had been trying for a baby and didn't think it would ever happen because we'd been told by doctors that our chances of conceiving naturally were slim. So this baby meant everything to us. Before we even got pregnant, we agreed on a name, if we were to have the boy we both wanted. In high school, my grandmother told me that if she ever had a son, this was the name she was going to give him. However, she only had 2 girls. I fell in love with the name immediately and told her that if I ever have a son, I would give him this name. She passed away while I was in college, but I'm still in love with the name and fully intend to honor that promise I made to my grandmother. Thankfully, my partner also fell in love with this name when I told him about it. I love how you're not sharing the name, babe. Like, I love how, it's like, no, my name. I'm gatekeeping it. It's my name. As you should, babe. Flash forward to the present day, my partner and I were about a week from finding out if we were having a boy or girl. And then one day on Instagram, I see a post from Em announcing she is pregnant with a boy. She's due 2 months before me. At this point, I hadn't announced my pregnancy publicly yet, so Em didn't know. But some of our mutual friends knew. One of them, who was really close to her, informed me that she shared her baby name list with her and that the name my grandmother picked was on the list. This is why you gatekeep it. Em had specifically said that she remembered me talking about liking that name at a speech tournament in high school, and the name stuck with her ever since. Particularly because the name is shared by her favorite poet. I wonder what name it is. Edgar? She told our mutual friend that name was her top choice, but her partner had a different preference, so they were still going back and forth about it. My partner and I recently found out we were having a boy, and we're using the name we love regardless of what Em names her baby. Because what difference is it really going to make, especially because we don't even live in the same state and these children will never meet. It's also not a unique or rare name by any means. So to us, it feels silly to act like only one of us can use it. Okay, fine. I'm just petty then. I'm petty. It reminds me of that scene in Sex and the City, the Charlotte baby name scene where that girl...
What's going on? She stole my baby name. You... Let's go.
You... Let's go. This is where I got my small dose of petty revenge. After we learned the gender of the baby, we decided to go ahead and announce our pregnancy publicly. And since we already had his name picked out, it's something we know we're not going to change our minds about since it had so much sentimental value. We decided to include his name in the announcement. So... Em learned that I was also pregnant, having a boy, and using the name I loved. I would be lying if I said I hadn't thought about Em's reaction when my partner and I made the decision to also announce our baby's name. Em hasn't said anything to me about the baby or about the name choice, but apparently she had a lot to say to our mutual friends. She said if she can talk her partner into it, she still wants to use that name for her son. And that since her baby will be born first, if I do end up using it for my son as well, then I'm just copying her. Oh, yeah? Okay. She sounds like a fan of you, babe. Like, she sounds a little obsessed. She's apparently become obsessed with trying to find out details about my pregnancy and my relationship with my partner since I don't post much on social media. I swear I did not read that next sentence before I said that. I think I'm a psychic. Like, I'm a witch, guys. She's been harassing our mutual friends, asking about me to the point where several of them are starting to cut ties with her because it's getting to be too much. Fan behavior, babe. Even her partner has reportedly told her that she's going overboard and apparently vetoed this name to their son because he thinks she's too weirdly fixated on it and me and wants her to stop stirring the pot. Sounds like she peaked in high school. Still reliving her high school days, eh? This is what I'm saying. Like, people don't like change that much. Like, if you're like that as a kid. So, I'm having a baby with a man of my dreams, getting to finally use the name my grandmother fell in love with decades ago, and as an added bonus, my friends from high school are finally seeing how weird M is for the way she constantly tries to compete with different people. For the people who keep commenting asking the name, though I shared it in 10 different comment threads at this point, his name is Joe. Joe Mama. Editing again to add that if you didn't catch the joke and actually thought the name is Joe, that's on you. You gatekeep that, babe. You gatekeep that until you die. Well, people will know once the baby's born, but you know, this is why we gatekeep, all right? And that is what I would call delicious. Subscribe!